Welcome to Hot Rod's Woodshed. Okay, I'm working on my 57 Chevy, the cargo area for my 9-passenger beauville wagon. I'm making the plywood fold panels that are on the rear cargo floor area. And this particular one is the one that it folds up that has the most holes and work to be done on it. So in case you don't have one or are looking for the measurements in what to do, this is the original one right here. It came out of the car original. So I've duplicated the measurements absolutely as close as I can within reason, and transferred them over to here to make my new one. So in case you're not familiar or are looking for the measurements, I thought I would post this video as to help you out if you want to make your own. So here's what I did. First off, the center of it, find the center of it, and the hinge, it looks like that the hinge holes line up then with the center. So this is that big chrome hinge, then it's got an L shape on both sides. And it looks like the hole for the hinge lines up with the center line of the board. The board overall is 44 5/8 long. 44 5/8 long overall. So I took my measurements from the end going over to here. So these, I'll work on this side here. So obviously these are for the pulls, the escutcheons where it pulls it up, and getting the center lines. And I used a 1 5/8 drill bit for this right here. Use an 1 5/8, and the center line is 2 5/16 over to the center line of it, and it was 9 inches from the center line there over to there. Okay. Now I just used a regular Fostner bit that was an 1 5/8, so I just drilled that out. Okay, and then my other measurement here was 11 1/8 to the center line over here, out to this here. All right, 11 1/8. So that'll give you the measurements right there. Now this escutcheon here was, as far as I know, it's for the seat, if you want to put the seat in it. So I determined it was 2 7/8 to the center line and 5 1/2 to the edge here, to the center line. However, this hole here is an 1 1/2. So it's a different drill bit. It's a different drill bit. You use an 1 1/2 for an 1 1/2 here, 1 5/8 here, okay? So then I move over to here to where they have it machined out for the shock. Now this is the bottom side of the piece. So this is for the shock where it protrudes slightly above the floor pan. So what I figured out was it is 4 1/2 inches to this edge, 4 inches to this edge, and 5 3/4 to the center line to the front edge. Now this being the front of the frontmost panel. Let me see. Let me think about this. No. This would be where that big hinge goes right here. So this would be the seam. So anyway, you'll figure it out. 4 inches there, 5 3/4 to the center line there, and 13 7/8 from the edge. From the edge all the way over to the center line. I determined that the overall width of the piece is 14 5/16 is the overall width of it from edge to edge. I noticed that these hinges, I don't know if I pointed this out earlier, but it seems to be a 5 3/16 center line from one hinge hole. Let me line this up here. Seems to be 5 3/16 from the center point of the hinge holes. Every hinge hole measures 5 3/16, every one, and it measures 3/8 of an inch. So I set my square up at 3/8 of an inch, and run 3/8 of an inch down through there and mark all of those so I keep all my hinge holes lined up. So that was So that was 3/8. Ah, damn it. 3/8 of a space there for the center line of the hinge hole. So anyway, you would take your measurements here for this shock, and you'll do the same thing here. And don't drill all the way through. It looks like they only drilled about halfway through, as best I can tell. It looks about halfway. This is 5/8 plywood, as best I can tell. Then they use 5/8, and that's what I'm going to use. So anyway, and then duplicate the same thing over here. And this being the bottom, I worked from the bottom of it. So anyway, and then also don't forget, obviously, you got to cut this straight across here, and cut that straight across there, and do the same thing here and here. Now, you may have to use a chisel, or if you're, got the tools, you can take a router and use a router then to clean that up. These go all the way through. These do not. These do not. So anyway, maybe that'll help you out, because I can't find anything on YouTube about the dimensions of these. And now, then to clarify, this is the this is the front panel, the frontmost panel. This being toward the front of the car, and that being toward the rear. So this would be where the first hinge mounts, right there, for 57 Chevy Beauville 9-passenger wagon. So anyway, that you can kind of see the two. If you need any other dimensions or advice or help or whatever I can do, I'm happy then to share. Just hit me up, like, and subscribe if you choose. Maybe this will help somebody out. Give me a thumbs up if it helped you out, please. At least that. Hot Rods Woodshed. Over and out, babies.